All right, welcome to an extra episode of Good Vibrations. We do these from time to time when we've got a special announcement to make. And this one is all about an upcoming event which is rapidly approaching. It's taking place on Sunday, the 20th of October, 2019. Not long to go. And on the show today, I have someone that you'll be familiar with as a previous guest. We spoke to him a few weeks ago, and he is the host of his own podcast called The Infinite Fringe and radio show on Truth Frequency Radio. That is the one, right?
Yes, sir.
Just wanted to get that correct. We're talking Mr. Billy Ray Valentine, all the way from the NYC. Welcome back, brother.
What is going on, Mark? How you doing? Welcome, everybody. My name is Billy Ray Valentine. And we're here to promote an event, man. I am pumped. I am hyped. Mark Devlin is coming over to New York City, just in case you didn't know. We'll talk about it a little more in just a second. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, we're making it happen, man. So the title of this event is Shoot the Moon NYC, but it is multifaceted and there's lots of different elements to it. So let's take it one by one in terms of who is going to be featured at this conference-style event, and then we can get into the details like when it's happening, how to get tickets, what the venue is, all that good stuff. But the title, Shoot the Moon, alludes to the first showing of this movie that's been produced by Crrow777, who is going to be a name very familiar to many of the listeners to this show, alongside Jason Lindgren. So tell us all about what's going to be going on with that element of this event, man.
Well, man, we're going to have a screening of Shoot the Moon, a documentary by Jason Lindgren and Crrow777. We've been trying to get something like that together for a bit, and opportunity came up because Mark Devlin willed this event into existence. So we figured we'd merge everything together, and that's how this came about. And Jason Lindgren will be live, and so will Crrow777. They're coming down, and they're going to show you this documentary. They spent a lot of time on it. It's actually been recognized at several film festivals at this point, and we're going to screen it for everyone. And there's a Q&A with Crrow and Jason after the film in October 20th. This is when we're doing this, October 20th, New York City, not far away from MSG, from Madison Square Garden. You guys should come down. We're gonna put a link up on the description of all of this. It's gonna be excellent. So we're gonna screen the entire film and then the Q&A with the guys.
All right. And that's going to be a rare opportunity to meet Crrow in the flesh, because he doesn't really get out on the scene. You don't really see him out at conferences. I think he's got circumstances that prevent him from being able to do that, but he's making an exception for this one. So you're going to be able to speak to him and interact with him, and Jason's going to be there as well in the flesh.
Yeah, you don't really see him, period. It's not even like you don't see him out in the crowd or amongst the community.
This is true,
you just really don't see him. He has a picture or two out there, maybe, of who he is or whatever. But people love Crrow, and this is an opportunity to get to meet him in the flesh and shake his hand and exchange information, visual and physical information, vibrations that we give off and whatever we read. I mean, I know that sounds a little crazy, but we're here, talking online the entire time. We don't get to properly evaluate a human as we are supposed to, in my opinion, but you'll be able to do that day, especially if you're a big fan of Crrow and Jason. Come down and come check this out. It's going to be fun.
And when you meet him, you can say, "All right, man." And at the end of it, you can say, "Cheers."
All right, man. Very good, Mark.
What is your understanding of what this film is all about?
Well, it's a documentary on Crrow's work, pretty much, on everything Crrow has done. If you guys are familiar with Crrow, I think he broke into our community and into widespread. Actually, went completely viral online when he filmed the lunar wave, right? And there's this line that goes up and down on the moon, and he filmed it, and no one knew what it was. I think he was the first to film it, and it was a breakdown of that and other things that he caught. And what his life work is about, ever since the lunar wave, ever since he filmed the lunar wave, 12 other people have filmed it independently at this point, maybe more at this point. I know at least 12 have done it independently of Crrow, but Crrow was the first. And this is a breakdown of his life's work and that event in particular.
I think I'm due to guest on Crrow and Jason's show very soon, because I got an email from Jason today saying they want to do a show about the punk rock scene, because Crrow apparently used to be in a punk band, and they want to talk about social engineering aspects of the punk scene. And we're just working that out, but I think I'm going to jump on their show to talk about that.
I used to be in a band.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, not a punk band, though.
What did you do?
I quote-unquote was a singer. Not really, but I sung in a grunge alternative band.
Oh, man, you're such a dark horse. Who would have ever thought that?
I don't know, man. It was a little bit too late, too. Like, the scene was dying by the time I started this band, so whatever. We were going to be famous, Mark.
Maybe we should do a show looking at previous careers of well-known truth/alternative hosts, because what a lot of people don't know about me is in the early 90s, I was editor of a business magazine concerned with stationery and office supplies. Who would have thought that? We all have our pasts.
I got more. So
yeah, I've got a few more as well.
Know, I'll tell you.
Yeah, another time.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Crrow and Jason. They're going to be in attendance at this event in the flesh. I'm going to be there as well, as you mentioned. My talk is going to be titled Music's Mind Control and Military Connections. Ooh. And I do want to focus specifically on certain scenes that are native to New York City, being that that's going to be the setting. So I am going to go in on the disco scene. I'm going to go in on the Loft and David Mancuso, which is a scene that is credited with springboarding the whole sort of disco clubbing scene of the 1970s. So we're going to bring in things like Studio 54 and Paradise Garage. I'm going to go in on the New York punk scene, focus specifically on the Chelsea Hotel, which is a very notorious and suspect venue there in Manhattan, with lots of different aspects to its history. So that's going to be quite interesting. And this is the second time this kind of thing has happened, man. You mentioned that I willed this event into being. And it was a similar scenario last year with the Truth Mind Reality event in Phoenix, Arizona, which was organised by Ivan from Phoenix. And that was basically a result of me saying to Ivan that I wanted to come out and link up with him socially. And, he said to me, well, if you're coming to town anyway, maybe we should put on some kind of event where you can speak and bring in other speakers. And that turned out to be the Truth Mind Reality event, which he put together. We had Mark Passio on the bill for that, Lennon Honor, Sonia Barrett, a whole bunch of others. And nice. This was a similar scenario. I sort of reached out to you and said, I'm going to be passing through New York on a leisurely basis, and why don't we link up? And so the idea came of putting on an event here. And here it is happening, Shoot the Moon NYC.
Mm-hmm. You literally willed this into existence, because I wasn't thinking about it. I'll tell you that much. So you're coming down, and Crrow and Jason expressed that they wanted to do something up here also, and I was like, well, why don't we just do it together at this point? I was going to try to find a place where Mark could talk independently of me, somebody that would house him, sure. And then Crrow and Jason wanted to do their thing, so I was like, let's put that together. Let's and everybody was for it, of course, because Mark loves Crrow and Jason and Crrow love Mark, so it was fine, and it worked off just like that. And then people, wanted to get on the bill, and we had to actually cut it, because this is the first time I'm doing anything like this. I didn't want to do a huge thing. I didn't want to have 8,000. Actually, it would have been cool to have 8,000 speakers, but I don't know how I would handle a crowd that came to see so many speakers. Right. And so Wayne McRoy, who is going to be giving a lecture. He's the author of The Alchemical Tech a Revolution. It's a great book, and also The Autism Epidemic. Transhumanism's dirty little secret. He's coming down. He's an active participant with Crrow on Crrow's work with Crrow and Jason, and he's coming down and he's giving a talk as well. And John Brisson, who is a good friend and on the Infinite Fringe fairly often, he's coming from North Carolina to give a talk. So it was fairly easy to get people to come down to be a part of this event. And there were others, but we wanted to just cap it at this and make it a small, intimate event that people could afford. That was one of the primary, things that we needed to knock off. We wanted people to be able to afford this event and come and not have to spend a grip to get up in there.
Sure.
So we got that accomplished, thank the Lord, and we got a great bill of speakers and a movie, so can't go wrong.
You're the natural choice to host an event of this nature, being that you're a New York native and you got the Infinite Fringe, and a lot of people know you from that. You've got a strong listener base, so you were the ideal guy to be the host of this event, I feel.
Well, I mean, man, I don't know, Mark. I don't know how this happened, but I mean, I do know you willed it into existence. But other than that, I don't know how it happened. So, and I was talking to a few people, and like, what's going on? I'm like, well, we're doing this event in October, and I'm like, how did this happen? I'm like, I quite frankly don't know. It was it just came together. Yeah. It just did. It just came together, and so many things in my life, Mark, have been going in that direction for some reason. They just happen. And I'm embracing it. I love what God has laid out for me and what I'm doing. I'm cool with it. But they just happen, and I'm like, okay, let me go down that road. And that's how we came here, and there's potential, Mark, for us to do this, on a year-to-year basis. Jason is very interested in doing that next year and maybe the year after, and if this goes really well, we might expand just a bit. There's talks about it, but right now, October 20th.
You could have created a monster there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's fun actually, Mark. Like to put something like this together for me. It's kind of what I did in the old days during my Mark job, meaning my regular job, but I did it with other people's money, so it was easy. To do with other people's money because I didn't have to worry about it.
Yep. Okay, then. So Wayne McRoy gets into vaccine truth as well, does he not? Doesn't he tie that into his whole autism and transhumanism work?
Yeah, he absolutely does. He gets into all of that. Wayne is a really smart guy. A ton of research the guy puts in, and he takes a different take on a lot of this stuff that I haven't necessarily heard before. And I think that's one of the points that Jason Lindgren wants to do with this. He wants to bring different researchers to the table that have something different and new to offer. Like your talk, I mean, come on, like who's heard something like that before? Right. Actually, if I may suggest, it's probably already done. But you spoke about Studio 54. You might want to get into the Donald Trump and Roy Cohn connections that and what they were doing up in there. That's always something to look at. What the shenanigans they were getting into at Studio 54, even though I know you probably already have this all wrapped up and ready to go. But yeah, Wayne McRoy gets into a lot of different takes, and he talks about vaccinations and autism and how autism is a link to transhumanism, and this is being done on purpose. It's a very different take that I hadn't heard before. I really don't know if anybody's really taken this turn on it, but he makes an interesting case for it.
And John Brisson, you said his talk is going to be titled The Untruth Movement. He's going in on the Truther Industrial Complex, which sounds very interesting.
Oh, man, John. I got to hook you up with John. He is something else. You had Neil Sanders on not too long ago.
Yes.
And he started breaking down the Heritage Foundation and Cambridge Analytica, and when I heard that from Neil, before your show, I had heard Neil. He came on the Fringe also shortly after your show. I had him booked.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
When I heard that from Neil, I was like, okay, wow. And I started looking at Cambridge and just started putting pieces together. Things started to make sense. But then John Brisson came around. And he reached out to me because I spazzed out on Donald Trump on Truth Frequency Radio. I forgot who canceled that day. I think I had Marty Leeds on and we couldn't get him on for whatever reason. And it was just me, and I spazzed on Donald Trump for an hour.
It's entertaining when you lose your shit on the show, man. It really is.
Well, that was one of them.
You go on a Mark Passio-style rant.
So Brisson hit me up, and he's like, hey, do you want me to come on your show and we could talk about QAnon and all this other stuff? I'm like, yeah, sure, man, come on. And I looked him up, and he's been on the Higher Side Chats, and he's been on every podcast you can think of. He does fixyourgut.com, and he can give medical advice. His story is an incredible one, John Brisson. But through that medical research, he actually found what we call the Truth Movement or the Seeker Movement or whatever. He got into it through the medical industry, because if you look down the right avenues, you're gonna find it. You know, like if you keep digging at why the medical industry is so screwed up, you're gonna find the names. They're gonna keep coming up, you know, Rockefeller and all this other stuff. They're gonna come up, you know, and that's what happened. And he's gone deep into it, and he called me up, and he actually waited on air to give me a test of that, you know, and I always hold him to it now, because he pulled me out on air. He goes, "Hey, do you know what the Council on Foreign Relations is?" I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'm completely familiar. Everybody knows what that is, right? I mean, everybody knows what it is at this point, right? And I'm like, yeah, we're talking. And he goes, "Do you know what the Council on National Policy is?" I'm like, "No, I don't. What is that?" And there it went. And he started talking about that, and he reached out to Neil and told Neil the same thing, and that's how things started falling into place on the rise of Brexit and the conservatism here in the United States and Donald Trump and all this other stuff. So he's off on that, down that research, and he wants to bring it to people, and he wants to let people know that we've been controlled in a lot of ways, you know, and not to say that a lot of the information that's come out of our community, our movement, isn't factual and reliable, because a lot of it is, but some of it we've just been shown one side of the coin for some reason. We've been stuck on Bilderberg. We've been stuck on the Council on Foreign Relations, you know, on that side. There's a whole nother side to this, and we're not really paying attention to it, and that's what John is going to bring to the table.
All right. I neglected to mention, actually, that in my talk I want to address the situation regarding the hip-hop scene, which emerged out of the Bronx, New York back in the day, and specifically the situation with Africa Bambaataa, which a lot of people may have been following. Still waiting on that film from Layla Wills, the documentary Trapped in a Closet. I gather that's still imminent at some point, but I do want to go in on that whole subject, again, being that we're going to be in New York and the setting is appropriate to get into all this stuff. I don't know if there's going to be hip-hop heads in attendance. I don't know if there's going to be members of the Universal Zulu Nation in attendance. It's probably best if there aren't, but either way, I do want to just, you know, incorporate that in what I will be talking about, because we've got everything in that. We've got mind control, we've got accusations of pedophilia, we've got social engineering, we've got military, intelligence connections, the whole lot. So, it's going to be a good opportunity to deliver that in New York City.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun. I'll make sure I step into Bambaata's old hood and put up some flyers and have some of the Zulu Nation come down and take a look, maybe see if they'll bite. They're good people.
Could that be a good move, or could that be a tactical error?
Excellent. We're good. We're fine. Right, well, everybody.
You're the Bronx dude, man. So I'm going to take your guidance on this.
Yeah, we're good. Anybody that wants to pay money to come down and see Wayne McRoy and Mark Devlin and Crrow777 that wants to give $30 to come see it, they're good people. We're gonna be fine. Yeah. So and they want to know the truth. You know, not anybody just walks into these things. You know, like it's, you know. So
you got Bin Hameen and the wrestling crew on security on the gate, right?
It's very possible that they'll be there. So
they can do.
It's very possible, and if Hameen's there, we're good. Ain't nothing happening to nobody. So, but it's very possible the conspiracy horsemen show up. At least two of them are going to show up for sure. But we might get all four. They're scattered throughout the United States. But
well, that would be something.
Yeah, I think they're showing up. We got a couple of other people showing up also that I'm not at liberty to discuss. But they're supposed to be showing up. I'm not discussing them because they're not speakers, and you know they reserve the right to not show up. But they've expressed interest to do so. So other people will be there, and you
Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, right?
Well, I spoke to Julian yesterday, and he wanted to talk, but I told him we didn't have enough space for him. You know, so he might actually show up after, you know, and hang with the people. So
okay, all right. So in terms of your input in the event, are you acting as MC, host for this?
Man, I guess so, right? I mean, somebody has to do it. So it has to be me, I guess. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be coordinating, and introducing and doing that whole deal.
And then spitting a few bars in a freestyle cipher, maybe.
Maybe it's possible, Mark. If you join us, let's do it.
I'll set the cipher off, and then you can step in.
Let's do it, man. Some of my pro wrestling podcast people are going to be there. It's the Wednesday locker room will be there in full force, and they're coming from everywhere else, Rhode Island and New Jersey, and of course the PW Hustle will be there in full force. And if 8-Track Brown is there, he can rhyme off the top of the head very simply. So it'll be nice to have that together. We're gonna have fun. Let's put it this way. It's gonna be an electric atmosphere, man. All you people that decide to come down, I mean, I'm gonna appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I know all the speakers are gonna appreciate it. So I mean, we're gonna give you your money's worth for sure, and then some. It's gonna be great. So I hope you guys come down to New York City. If you're already here, buy a ticket. If you're not and you want to come down, and you have an issue with staying somewhere, hit me up. I can try to tell you where to go, or what's easiest, but regardless of that, man, it's one day. You can drive in and take off, October 20th. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a fun time. I can't wait to see all you guys there.
And just recapping on the location, that is 25 West 31st Street on the third floor. And that's very central. That's right in the middle of Manhattan. Easy public transport options. Very convenient to get to by train, subway, bus.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very simple. It's like Penn Station's right there. So anybody can really get in there and come to the event. So it's very accessible. We were lucky enough to get a venue out there. I'm very happy and excited about the possibilities.
Sure, you did well to secure that one. So it's Sunday, the 20th of October, and it's running from 1 till round about 7 p.m., right?
Probably about 7:30. Yeah, it says 7 p.m. on the thing, but it'll probably go to about 7:30. I'll adjust that, but it'll probably go that far in, yeah. So it's going to be an all-day event, so get ready for it.
A day well spent.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have fun, man. It's going to be great.
For sure. Tickets starting around about $30, and there's an Eventbrite page where people can get hold of those tickets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to eventbrite.com. That's Eventbrite, Brite, and then search for Shoot the Moon NYC. And once you search for that, it's going to be the first thing to come up. You're going to see Mark's Musical Truth emblem up there. You're going to see Crrow777's emblem up there, and the Infinite Fringe's emblem up there as well. And just click on it, and it's $30. I mean, there's after October it goes up to $35. Like after October 2nd. But until then, it's $30. So go ahead and purchase it. And if you don't want to purchase it, somebody asked me, they were like, "Are you taking donations?" We're not. I'm not. It's not what we want to do. We want you to come. If you're going to spend money, I want you to come, and I want you to get there and enjoy all the talks. So I'm not. We're not trying to do this to get donations. I want people there. So sure. If you want to help out and you can't come, just take the link. I'm sure Mark is going to post it on the comments. I mean, on the what is it?
Yeah, we'll put it in the notes. Yeah,
exactly, on the notes of this show, and just take it and post it on your Facebook page or send it to your meetup groups or whatever. Tweet it out. Do whatever you want. Like post it out there. If you want to buy a ticket for someone, somebody already did that. You can do that too. Buy a ticket for someone. All that stuff is fine, but we're not taking donations because that's just not. I want people to actually show up. But I would appreciate if you posted this far and wide. So feel free to go ahead and take that link and post it wherever you want.
And so much value in just being able to network with people in the flesh and do things old school style. Before this thing called the internet, people used to actually meet up and, conversate with each other and be in the same room as each other. So it's like taking it back to the essence of all of that. So much different to watching a YouTube video at home or, just catching information online. Just to be there under a roof with like-minded people and sharing that energy and sharing the opportunity to compare notes and have decent conversations. These are limited opportunities these days. There's not many events where you can do this kind of thing anymore.
Agreed. And the thing is, and this is where I'm coming from with it. To step out of the virtual world. That's what we do all day. We're in front of computers or on our smartphones or televisions.
Lose that screen. I welcome any opportunity to lose the screen.
Exactly. Step aside, step away from it, and you get to feel the information. And by that I mean, when you shake somebody's hand, there's a transmission of information there. When you look at people in the eyes, there's transmission of information there. You get to feel somebody's vibe. There's a reason for it. Our sensors go off. We are giving off energy all the time, and we're receiving energy all the time. And when we're in person, as it was meant to be, you can get a real sense of what that person is about.
Humans are social beings. It's the way we were supposed to live.
Absolutely. So that's the main selling point for me. We get to meet all these people that you listen to all the time.
Sure.
I've been listening to Mark for years, and now I get to meet him. And I speak to Mark quite often. So I feel like I know him, but I've never met him. But now I get to meet him, and that's amazing. Same with Crrow. We've had a working relationship for a long time. I speak to Jason almost every day now.
Brothers from another mother.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
All of these people, man, like Wayne, I speak to quite often, and John, I speak to quite often also. Every day I speak to John also. And I've never met these people, and there's so many of you out there that are coming to the event that I know that listen to the Fringe or listen to Crrow on TFR or listen to me on TFR, and you're in the comment section and you purchase tickets. I can't wait to see you, because you're commenting on the stuff that we do. I want to see you, and I know Mark wants to see these people too. Sure. And that's the main selling point for this, is to get together, to interact, to share information on a physical basis with one another. It's a beautiful thing. It's as God intended it to be. You want to talk about natural law? It's the closest thing to natural. It is the definition of natural.
That's right. All right. So I'm very gassed about this event. We've got about 6 weeks to go as we record this. And in the meantime, your show, The Infinite Fringe, continues. And as I mentioned at the start, I love listening to that show. Your show reminds me of old school hip hop radio shows like Stretch and Bobbito, Stretch Armstrong and Bobbito the Barber, and Funkmaster Flex, when he'd have Chuck Chill Out and Red Alert coming in the studio. And, besides playing records, they would just be larking around and chatting, and it would just be completely spontaneous and on the fly. And when you get your four horsemen guys in and, certain other guests, that's the way your show comes across. It just seems very natural, and it's just a bunch of guys having a conversation, and nobody really knows what's going to be said next. And that, I feel, is one of the main values of your show. Obviously, it comes with very incisive information as well, but I just love the way it's presented in that freestyle sort of fashion.
Well, you hit it right on the head. We don't plan a damn thing, besides, you're going to come talk to me today? Okay, great. And we talk. I don't have notes in front of me, and mostly the people that I have on don't have them either. We just talk.
It works.
And wherever it goes. And, there's something to be said for it. I wanted to present in that manner, even though I understand why people do it, why people read off of notes and all that, because I stumble upon over my thoughts all the time, where I'm like, damn, I forgot about that. So I'll write bullet points sometimes, like one or two bullet points. I don't want to forget that point. But I like the spontaneity or the genuine aspect of, giving your actual feelings off the top of your head. Like, that's the way I never really related to people who read speeches, like politicians who stood up there and read a speech.
Yeah.
It just didn't come off as genuine to me. Whether
Obama with his auto cue.
Yeah, exactly. At least.
There's this classic video of Obama's auto cue breaking down in the middle of a speech, and the guy was screwed. He just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, I know he was lost. He didn't know what to do. But you get up there and you start talking, and you really start talking from the heart. You just do it. And yeah, man, that's how I try to run my show. Lord willing, I can continue to do it. And thanks everybody for listening. And Mark, thank you for the kind words, man. I enjoy the hell out of it, and we're gonna keep rolling. And this is just another aspect of it, So
Sure.
I'm very excited about the future. Things only get more complicated. They're not getting easier, right? They get more complicated as to what avenues you're going to stream from. What times are you going to be able to do this? Are you going to be able to do it? Because life gets in the way, or Google gets in the way, or YouTube shuts you down. I've never been on YouTube, but it's just our community in general. It's not getting easier, but we keep doing it. And I hope you guys stick around for the ride. Come listen to the Fringe, man. If you don't know me, and you don't know what I do, the Infinite Fringe on iTunes, on Podbeam, and of course live on TFR, Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, we'll put links into your show into the notes as well for this one.
Thank you.
All right, Billy Ray. Well, looking forward to linking with you, man. Not long to go now. It's going to be a great event. And other than that, thanks for coming on the show today. Catch you again soon.
Hey, let me tell everybody, we're almost halfway sold out right now. They're going. So buy tickets if you want to come. Because I'm not trying to turn anybody away. Maybe we can work something out, like standing room or something. But right now they're selling okay. They're going at a fairly decent rate. So hop on it. And I can't wait to see you there. And thank you, Mark.